The ultrafine placer gold in Sheep Creek, that's not exclusive to Sheep Creek. All of those stamp mills back in the day were notoriously ineffective at recovering the gold. They got like, about 50%, sometimes even less, guys. That's horrible. So we're turning onto Wild Horse Creek. This is where all the mines would have been. We're gonna go explore the Wild Horse Creek area. This is a different Wild Horse Creek than the one we're going to. So all around here is mines, guys. The Wymer, the Yankee Girl, the Canadian Girl, the Jubilee, guys. The ore from the Jubilee was super rich, 150 ounces to the ton. So we're just gonna drive 9 minutes up to a pullout. You never know when you're driving these old routes, guys. I was just talking to the guy that runs the hotel in Wymer, and he was saying that Oscar Creek is actually officially deactivated as a logging road. So he's like, even the loggers aren't using it anymore, and it's not maintained anymore. So you could run into issues, or there could be a washout. So I don't think we'll do Oscar Creek just because I have so many other places to go, and it's literally just this, but in a different valley. So it's like, I think we do 2 of the 3. What we're going to do is we're going to drive through the valley, and then all along this valley, guys, are mines everywhere, all up on the mountains and stuff. We might see some stuff down here like cyanide plants, stamp mills, but mostly it's all up at the top. Sheep Creek as well. The other thing to note too, guys, is a good trick. I don't have a side-by-side, so I can't do it, but a lot of these roads, if they're narrow or stuff, or you're worried about your truck not fitting, just get a side-by-side. Obviously, you need to have a side-by-side to do that. But like Frank from Exploring Abandoned Mines, that's what he'll do to get up to those really, really high elevations. Because those roads, guys, they get narrower and narrower the higher up you go, right? And then depending how many people have traveled up there, which out here into some of these mines is nobody or very few, it could be overgrown, and then you're smacking trees, which is not a bad thing, but it's just, if there's not many places to actually physically turn around. This whole area is all hard rock gold, lode deposits. Gold was discovered on the Salmo River, placer gold, and then guys were thinking like, oh, well, if placer gold was discovered here, there must be hard rock. It must be coming from somewhere, right? Because the gold was big enough and coarse enough and chunky enough that if it's small, rounded, and flattened, that means it's traveled quite a bit. It's been tumbling down the river for who knows how long. If it's chunky and straight and kind of square still, what you really want is you see chunks of like rock still attached to it, like quartz or something. You could not get any better than that, right? That means that it's basically just fallen off into the river, and you're at the point where, it's falling off, which then means now you got to get the detective hat out.
Restricted area.
Contaminated, maybe health hazards. Yeah, it's the arsenic and stuff that he was talking about. Yeah. So we're just at Wild Horse. We're just at the pullout. So if you continue on, this just keeps taking you up the mountain, and there's more mines. They're all kind of up on the tops of the mountains. And then depending on which mine it is, like if it was the Wymer or something, there'll be remnants of a stamp mill, or like at the Reno, they had a tramway. And then in some cases they had a tramway going from, the Reno to the mother lode kind of a thing. So just keep your eyes peeled always for, foundations, old pieces of wood. But you can see restricted area, health hazards in the area. So a really important thing to note here, guys, is they were using a lot of chemicals to extract gold, like, cyanide, arsenic, and all that. When you're looking at rocks here, be very careful picking up pieces of quartz and other rocks, right? Especially porous rocks that absorb material. And definitely don't lick your fingers or touch your face or do anything with those with your hands after if you're going to touch the rocks, because they're contaminated with arsenic and cyanide and stuff. So you don't want to like poison yourself basically by picking up a whole bunch of rocks, then eating a sandwich or something for lunch, and then you've got a problem. Wild Horse Creek was a placer gold creek. All of these creeks, guys. Oscar Creek had placer gold in it, which is just on the other side of the mountain. Porcupine Creek had gold on it. Sheep Creek had gold on it. The Salmo River had gold on it as well. It's an indicator that there's a lode source nearby, especially if it's chunky. Most of this stuff, almost all of it, is heavily staked, guys. There's actually a law here for the commercial companies that you need to have a minimum, and I actually think it's good. You have to use it a certain amount. Like there's a minimum amount of work that has to be done by these companies to actually be able to keep their claim. Like, so they actually have to come out here, and do work on it. And some guys, you know, kind of get around it with the loophole and just do the bare minimum to keep the claim. But if you don't work your claim, then it's not fair to the other companies that want to work it, right? This is the same thing with just the common guy and placer mining claims. You'll have guys that say, oh, I have a claim, and it's like, great. Do you ever go out there and use it? Do you throw a pan in, or do you just have claims? And then you've got guys, claim collectors, right? They got claims all over the province, but it's like, how much time do you actually spend out there mining? Because there's issues with that. There's some guys are in line, especially on the Fraser in certain areas. You got to get in line for a claim. Like that ground is highly, highly desired, and you don't just walk in there and start panning, right? And some of you ask, well, why don't you pan more in these areas? I'm like, I can't, guys. This is all claimed up. Like, I can't do that. I can't just go down to a random spot in the river on one of these places and start dipping a pan in. That's not how it works. You need to have a claim. And so in these areas, because there was a lot of stamina activity, you want to be careful, or you want to look for chunks, like microscopic pieces that have fallen out of the mill and wash into the river. We'll talk more about that in Sheep Creek. But we're basically in Wild Horse Creek now. We're gonna go back down, go over to Porcupine, check out Porcupine, and then continue on. Okay, so we're not gonna go to Oscar, guys. It's deactivated, and I got a bunch of logging roads to do today. So it's not a bad road. Once you leave the residential area, it definitely gets more into like an off-road style. Lots of ruts, lots of big ruts in this road too. Trees, hitting trees. That's what I'm worried about with Sheep Creek. But I was gonna go up to the Reno mine, or one of the mines right up at the top of Sheep Creek. But there's a whole bunch of sharp switchbacks going up, and that's not even the worst part. Once you get up those switchbacks, then there's like a straight road that goes like right up, almost near vertical. And to my knowledge, I'm sure somebody will comment, I'm pretty sure that road is overgrown, and I don't even know the state of it. Be cool to go up there though, but I might save that for another time once I do a little more recon. Like, I could focus just on one specific area, trying to show the big story here of like how it all fits together. So, and each one of these creeks is its own. You could spend, you know, years just looking at one of these creeks, right? Like Sheep Creek in particular. That's down near Selmo though. That's a whole other, these ruts, man. There's no good line here. So it's like literally gashes like all across the road. The two mountains of note, guys, here, and keep in mind there's mines all over these mountains, would be Mount Jubilee and Mount Dundee. The two mines have the same name, like they're like, you know, you've got the Wymer mine, you've got the Dundee mine, you've got the Jubilee mine. The Jubilee had 150 ounces to the ton, guys, the ore. The Yankee Girl supposedly was the richest. And then there was the Canadian Girl, a whole bunch of different claims, guys. Like I said, there's like there's hundreds here, guys. Hundreds and hundreds of them. All goofy names and stuff. The Good Enough, you know, the Mother Lode. There's always a Mother Lode everywhere. Every mining camp's got a Mother Lode claim. So that's Oscar Creek, guys. It's tempting. I'll just see. I'm just gonna go up there and look. So we're just gonna do Oscar Creek, guys. We're gonna do it. Try and see if there's anything to look at. Oh, this is the transfer station. Let me see here. No, that's too. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, yeah, no, Oscar looks rough. He's not kidding there. That's the beginning of it, too. That's how it starts. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we won't do Oscar. We tried. Okay, so this is downtown Wymer, guys. This is the town. So we'll just turn around over here. This is the old railway, guys. The old rail station would have been right around here, I'd imagine. This is all that's left, guys. The Wymer Hotel and that other building behind it are the only two surviving buildings from the town site from back in the day. Alrighty, guys, so we're leaving Wymer. What a great little place, man. That hotel is a treasure. This whole area. But yeah, placer gold, guys, all around here. Or there was. Probably still is. But unless you have a claim, you're not doing anything about it. So a lot of my stuff, guys, is just FYI. I'm by no means encouraging you to go do any of this. You do everything on your own, right? And responsible for yourself, because we're all adults, right? So, like I said, just check the MTO boards, make sure you're not claim jumping, and have at her. But I'm just here to tell everybody that it's here. Porcupine Creek. This was one of the very first areas in this region that was staked with claims. Like I said, guys, placer gold in this creek too. All these creeks, guys, they all have placer gold in them, which is why everybody was like, okay. Because if just one of them had placer gold, that would be one thing. But literally every single creek system all along the Salmo River Valley connects to a whole bunch of other valleys, like the Porcupine Creek Valley, all these other ones. People. Yeah, they're biking and stuff. I don't want to do that. No. Okay. Well, we're going to Salmo then. Yeah. Okay, this is how it works. Yeah. No. I might do that if there wasn't bikes and a whole bunch, but it's obviously there's going to be people ATVing and dirt bikes, and I can't move for people. Yeah. I'm so big. That's the only problem with this truck. Is it's actually, in some regards, too big. Yeah. Well, it is too big. But it's also the right size for other things. Alrighty guys, so here we are, Salmo, downtown Salmo. This is the old Salmo Hotel, guys. It's amazing. Amazing little hotel. Great food too. And then the train station, the old railway. So from Juanita to Ross Spur still has active rail traffic. Then after that, the rail tracks have been ripped up all the way to Nelson. So we just turned off the Highway 6, Salmo River Valley. So now we're gonna drive up Sheep Creek, guys. Sheep Creek is very, very historic mining area. Sheep Creek Mining Camp. There used to be a town, the old town of Sheep Creek. It had 111 houses. It was right at the kind of the end of the Sheep Creek Valley before it branches off. But there's a huge amount of gold mining here, guys. It's very, 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 very historic area. The HB mine, the Reno, the Mother Lode, the Kootenai Bell. So yeah, we're gonna go to Sheep Creek. We're just basically driving through the general little area here. The HB mine, guys, that was a lead zinc mine. Big lead zinc deposit. We'll go check that out. There's some ruins too that are very easily accessible too, which is always nice when you don't have to drive up a mountain to go see it. But Frank did a really good video on the Mother Lode and the Reno, where he went up and he looked at the whole tram system and the old mill and stuff. So definitely, if you're interested, guys, check that out. Because that was Frank. Frank did an awesome job doing that. Oh, RR5, okay. It's probably nobody there, but 0 up, Sheep Creek. The Sheep Creek used to be a settlement. It was 111 houses in Sheep Creek. It used to be an actual settlement. 10 kilometers. So, guys, we're on Sheep Creek Road. We got the RR5 locked in, called 0 up. So now we just listen and wait, and almost nobody ever calls kilometers, guys. The only guys I've actually seen do it are loggers or other guys that are 4x4 guys. Half the time you're on these roads, nobody even has a radio. But if you do have a radio, you should follow the protocols. So all along Sheep Creek, guys, there's placer gold. The Sheep Creek mining claim is like right around here. The HB mine's like, I think it's up that other road, but I thought I saw the sign was closed. But you see what I'm saying, guys? And this goes without saying if you've done enough off-roading. The deeper in you get, the worse it gets. And then obviously the higher up the mountain you get, the worse it tends to get too. So just be mindful of that if you are going to go on a bold. Because you want to be able to turn around. And like I said, for me, I'm not driving a Jeep, guys. The Jeep is easy to maneuver, right? This is not. So, like, there's not really much places for me to turn around right here, right? So I have to drive until I can find, like, a clearing of grass or something. Like, maybe here I could turn around. Jesus, there's some decent potholes on this road. Yeah. We're, like, right on the valley bottom here.
Yeah, it's pretty, though.
Okay, guys, so let's take a little walk here, go down to Sheep Creek. So we're on Sheep Creek, the Hudson's Bay mine. Staked by 2 prospectors. It's silver lead zinc mine, primarily lead and zinc, a little bit of silver, a little bit of gold too. This is Sheep Creek, guys. Lots of placer gold in here, and not only placer gold, but there was a whole set of stamp mills all along here. Same with Wild Horse Creek, a lot of them, right? A lot of the mills here basically mine the ore inside the mountain, transport it up to the main level, take it out of the mine, load it on tram cars, send those tram cars down the mountain where they then get dumped into the mill. Everything gets processed. Then they use cyanide. And they run cyanide through everything to basically bring the gold into a solution. Like create a solution and bring that into the gold. Bring the gold into solution, and then basically, yeah, that's it. But this is, yeah, this road's brutal, guys. This is what I mean. You got to be careful. This bridge. Look at this bridge, eh? Sketchy, man. Real sketch. So this is Sheep Creek, guys. Lots of placer gold here, in here. Placer gold. All claimed up though, guys. This is all claims. Yeah, it's just dead ends over here. Timber harvesting. But that's the bridge, guys. Big gaps in there too, fall in the river pretty easily. And then there's a whole bunch of garbage or something down there. Is there any good way to get down here that's not horrible? There we go, guys. That's Sheep Creek. So I was saying with the stamp mills and how they mine the ore out of the mountain, send it down on a tram, mill it, and then they take the concentrate and send it off to get smelted, where it can actually be refined and then turned into gold bricks. The key thing about a lot of these old stamp mills was their recovery rate was, especially back in the old days, it's about 50%. In some cases, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower. But basically, there's whole chunks of gold, that very fine gold too, that has basically been falling into Sheep Creek. So all along Sheep Creek, basically from like where Reno Mountain, Yellowstone Mountain, the Queen Mine, all around there. From there to the confluence of Sheep Creek with the Salmo River is all really ultra fine gold that the stamp mills missed. It fell out of the stamp mills and then over time like washed away into the creek. But the problem is it's super fine gold, so it's really hard to recover. And when the guys that were working in the mines realized that all the fine gold from the stamp mills, or some of the fine gold from the stamp mills, was being lost and was ending up in the river, there was a huge rush to stake Sheep Creek because everybody wanted to get the ultra fine gold that had basically been turned into placer gold. And that's a prime example of back in, thousands and thousands of years ago, how placer deposits start. It's just gold falling off the main vein or falling off a vein into the river or into a creek and then taking its course downwards, right? Down to wherever it ends up and sits. But the only problem with getting the gold out of Sheep Creek is at that time, and even going forward into the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they didn't have the technology to recover ultra-fine gold. Like, ultra-fine gold is really, really difficult to recover just because it's ultra-fine. And so they haven't had the technology for the longest time, but there's Sheep Creek, guys, there's millions of dollars of ultra-fine gold sitting in Sheep Creek. But as is the case with pretty much all of the places I go to and talk about, this is all claimed, guys. This is all mineral claims, right? And there's a huge push now to reinvestigate the old deposits because they didn't stop mining in these mines because the ore ran out. Sometimes that's the case. In a lot of these mines here, the prices dropped out. The war happened, or the depression happened, or something else happened. And all of a sudden, the price of gold is no good anymore, right? It's not viable. So it was a whole thing back in the day about like, well, what's the price of gold and how much can we get for it? And not only that, but how difficult is this stuff to access. It's the same thing here, guys. Look at this bush. Like, theoretically, yeah, you could come out here and prospect, but are you really you're gonna come out here and bushwhack like this up into the bush? It's very hard, guys. And then, well, okay, let's say you find ore. Do you have a bag? Are you gonna pack the samples back? It's a whole thing. And this area has been combed for 100 years, guys. These talks of lost mines and lost deposits that were never found. Like outside Wymer and Wild Horse there, they found a huge chunk of float, guys. And it looked really rich, like better than the material they were getting. And it came from even higher up on the mountain than where they had discovered their first vein. And so there was talk of a lost vein and nobody's ever found it. And everybody's been combing for 100 years. And maybe it's covered under overburden, or who knows, right? You never know, guys. It's part of the game. It's just kind of investigate and see what's going on. But the ultrafine placer gold in Sheep Creek, that's not exclusive to Sheep Creek. All of those stamp mills back in the day were notoriously ineffective at recovering the gold. They got like, about 50%, sometimes even less, guys. That's horrible. You're losing 50% of your profits. And so another common thing guys would do is they'd take vacuum cleaners and they'd go onto old stamp mills and start vacuuming up all dust and stuff, and they get ultrafine gold dust in there. So we're going to continue on. We're going to go to the old town site of Sheep Creek and then talk more about the mines. So we're just driving along Sheep Creek Road. This whole area all along the creek, guys, gold. And even before the stamp mills deposited a bunch of gold, they were finding placer gold, which is said is always an indicator that you're getting onto the hard rock, right? The veins. So we're just driving to the town site, guys. The old town site at Sheep Creek. There's nothing left here, but Sheep Creek was a mining camp, and it was for all the mines all around here, guys. There's literally like 20, 30 mines. They're all up at the top, and then some are lower down, but it's quite a bushwhack to get to it. Like I said, Frank did a really good job, guys. If you're really curious as to see what actually is involved with that and the amount of bushwhacking you got to do to get to some of these places that aren't like the easy gimme ones, like by the road, watch Frank's channel, guys. Some really good stuff on there. He's covered Sheep Creek, Wymer, this whole area extensively, guys. But he'll actually go in the mine. Like he brings his rope gear and he's got his side-by-side, and it's really, really good. I would highly recommend checking his channel out, guys. We also did a collab together, me and Frank. So go check that video out, the Yankee Boy Mine, guys. This is the turn coming up to go to I think it's the Reno mine. Big bunch of switchbacks. 1.3 kilometers. Being a looky-loo. Right here. Okay, guys, so here we are. Sheep Creek town site. Basically, guys, Sheep Creek was a mining community for the surrounding area. So you've got Reno Mountain, Yellowstone Mountain, all the different mines. So people had houses here, and they're all gone now. Everything's gone. There's nothing really left. But at one point it was like other places, guys. It was like a bustling little metropolis. They would send all the ore up to Salmo for the train. Nelson Fort Shepherd Railway. All the gold, or a lot of the gold that came out of these mountain guys, it ended up in Spokane. It was all American miners, right? Because the thing is, the British didn't really care that much for hard rock stuff. They were more of placer people. So they were all about placer diggings, finding placer gold, because when it comes to hard rock, you need actual resources. This is Sheep Creek, guys. Sheep Creek town site. And like I said, there's roads going all the way up, take you right up to the mines and check all that stuff out. Sheep Creek, guys. Okay, guys, so we finished Sheep Creek. Awesome. Gold mines of Salmo, the Lower Kootenays, guys. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notified. Leave a comment. And Sasquatch Prospector out.